Welcome back, everybody. We've been participating in JPDs for the past 2 months, and now we're cycling back into OPDs. In the near future, the assistant chief pilots will take over the administration of this program, but you're stuck with me for a little longer, so let's make the best of it. As is our custom, we will look at our focus areas for the year and desired qualities. Technical competence and growth is obviously vital for the safety and legitimacy of our squadron, and will come through CTs, local flights, missions, sims, and mentorship. Taking care of the squadron is key to build ownership, relationships, and investment, and we'll see more of this through project management opportunities and a resurgence of the Booster Club. Make sure you get your swag. In developing leaders with vision and purpose, we seek to stretch your conception of what leadership is and demonstrate how truly important and impactful you are in the success of the Double Deuce, but more importantly, the lives of your peers and enlisted muleys. Developing as a leader with vision and purpose is bolstered, forgive the OPR speak, by the qualities of empathy, self-awareness, and peer leadership. Without empathy, whatever house of cards you build will ultimately fall, because empathy is the rock upon which leadership is built. Self-awareness is what keeps you grounded, centered, and honest about your performance and its effects on the world around you. And as we've stated before, peer leadership is the ultimate sanity check, that you're doing right by others up, down, and laterally. This month we seek to build on all these aims and characteristics. This month, we're going to talk about shifting mentality as it relates to how we engage with people and what that means for organizations. You've been hearing a lot lately about small teams, the infinite game, and other concepts that are becoming manifest in our speech and processes in the Double Deuce. We'll talk about where some of this is coming from in the next 2 slides. If I were to give you a bottom line up front, it would be that I am hopeful. After many years in the Air Force and even more on the planet, it seems that a bit of the cynical, fatalistic approach to dealings may be taking a people-centric turn for the better. I know this introduction is super vague, and will attempt to frame things as the video unfolds and then expand during a good Thursday discussion. I've been reading a bit over the past few weeks. All the books on this slide are worthy of your time and are clarifying and shaping my perspective on a number of things, not just work-related. If I had to pick one to start with, I'd go with Turn the Ship Around. It's interesting to see things from the perspective of a Navy commander dealing with changing culture on his nuclear sub. I couldn't help but think what it would be like to basically have a squadron-sized crew living and working on a C-5 for 6 months at a stretch, only landing every few weeks for resupply. Imagine that leadership challenge. So, what spurred this train of thought for this month? Reading helps us expand our perspective, not only becoming exposed to new concepts and ideas, but also sharing experiences that we would not have had a chance to have otherwise. Reading builds empathy, seeing the world through someone else's eyes. It builds self-awareness, relating the text to our own situation. What really got me thinking is due to the variety of the books I've been reading, especially Radical Inclusion by Ori Brafman and Martin Dempsey. Here we have a Berkeley vegan and the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff writing a book on leadership together. In finding commonality, the two make a strong case for their perspective. When looking across the other books on the last slide, I kept seeing common themes. To me, this means that certain modes of thought and practices are becoming the standard. They apply across disparate disciplines. In short, some new truths are emerging, and we want to be on the leading edge of that change. The emerging concepts are not necessarily new, though some are. They make logical sense, but more importantly, they feel right. They make sense at an emotional as well as a cognitive level, and appeal to the best parts of us. A big internal check for me is if I'm reading a book and I actually get excited about the concepts and start thinking about how we can apply them, taking notes. I know we're onto something. One of the concepts that was a common thread throughout all these books by military leaders, academics, business people, sports figures, and psychologists was how critically important people are, not just as a means to an end, but actively engaging and growing them. Not for the bottom line, not for the mission, but because it was right. And the benefits go far, far beyond producing widgets or making money or earning accolades. I just picked 5 examples of how the different authors approached engaging people, but they all translate to the same thing: setting the conditions for all people in the organization to thrive. This is a shift in mentality. There's some firms in the business world who get it, and I think we're on the cusp of seeing the military embrace it more as leaders like Generals Dempsey and Mattis can look back and propagate what they've learned over decades of service. But maybe we don't wait until we're retired to get the word out. Maybe we choose to act now and change the game for the better. We could talk about different aspects of engaging people for a very long time. For the purposes of this video, the first nugget to get us thinking, I'd like to talk about trust. According to Simon Sinek, successful organizations have a strong culture and create trust among its members. Trust is the most important quality any person or organization must have to maintain long-term relationships. Trust is like a lubricant. It reduces friction and increases performance. However, it's very easy to break trust. Critically, leaders need to understand the importance of people and relationships to achieve their vision. Trust is foundational, and without it, you cannot hope to lead. You can manage through fear or transactional means, but you cannot inspire or hope to motivate others to go above and beyond. We'll talk more about trust after a quick break. A word from our sponsor, Muley Clubs. When we talk about trust, we're talking about relationships. It is more difficult now than ever to build relationships, which are typically formed through common experience. Think about it. Some of the people you relate to most in the squadron outside of your rank or age group are likely those you have flown a mission with. You have a shared experience. Bringing that concept home, literally, we can create those experiences across demographic lines by leveraging things we're most passionate about and interested in. Muley Clubs help us build relationships, form bonds of trust, and can build ideas and perspectives we would not have otherwise. As officers in the Double Deuce, we cannot be mere participants. I don't mean for us to roll in and take over, having an OIC for each club. That defeats the informal nature that would allow relationships to grow organically. What I mean is that as an officer, you are expected to put your energy and enthusiasm behind squadron initiatives. Help to invigorate your club, help others take the lead, be a mentor. I think we've demonstrated the myriad positives of the Muley Clubs, so please do your part in strengthening the culture of the Double Deuce, especially at a time when many of our members are dealing with isolation. Back to trust. If our words and actions reflect a true desire to help our people learn and grow, achieve a personal vision, we become unstoppable. Our people know that we have their back and will work to better each other, the Double Deuce, and become the best version of themselves. In our next OPD, we'll talk about how organizations are beginning to shift and take a vision-centric view of the world. This shift may sacrifice some sacred cows like quarterly profits in the business world, and who knows what impact it'll have on our military processes. The truly enlightened organizations understand the long game, the infinite game, that there is no end, there is no winning, there is no best. There's only better. We in the military are pragmatic, if nothing else. So how does this relate to us? How do we put this into practice? When we talk about engaging our people, we're talking about a shift in our mindset. We're talking about emancipation versus empowerment. To steal a line from Radical Inclusion, if you want to empower your people, you're passing your power along for them to use. This is a form of control, deeming them to do your bidding. If you emancipate them, you unleash them to wield their own power free to employ that expertise in the battle space. Your role becomes one of mentor and coach as opposed to a director or manager. So no kidding. How do we build trust? How do we foster vision and cultivate an internal drive? How does this translate into your day-to-day? I'm not going to proffer any answers here. I can put up these pictures, but ultimately they're a jumble of words lacking practical focus. I want you to do the brainstorming on your own. What techniques have you seen that work? What do effective leaders that you've seen do that cultivate trust? How do you apply those lessons? We know that trust is the bedrock of leadership, so let's discuss how to build it on Thursday. And here it is, live chat on Thursday, 10 a.m. What are the ways to get people to trust you? What did you come up with? As an officer and a leader in the Air Force, building and maintaining trust should be at the forefront of your mind. And we'll discuss how we're going to make it happen. If we have time, I'd also like to discuss the exercise I sent out last week about your idyllic future. In retrospect, what you value and what you're most proud of. As well as maybe think about why I asked you to do this little bit of daydreaming. Not to spoil the ending, but your dream future should shape your present. So, that's all I got. I want to thank you again for listening. Look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday. Leave some feedback, and we'll see you soon. See you.